What's up, everybody? How are you? This is Bill Forster. I'm calling. I'm trying to do something. Uh, guest, guest, yes. Add. I'm trying to add the guest. Chuck Richards. Add to stream. Chuck, got you. Okay, let's see. All right, I think I got you guys. Can't hear you, but I got you.
I can hear you, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you a little bit. Go ahead. Um,
Just keep talking, Bill.
yeah. Sorry, fellas. I just, I got so much
Bill's
going
never heard
on.
that before. Someone to tell them to keep talking.
Yeah, that was Malika. So,
That's unusual, man. That's an unusual turn of events.
yeah, this is just all right. Just let me know. I guess you could. Well, I can't even take mine. So yeah, we just had emergency with one of our properties, so we have been trying to take care of it. Put your phone up there. Right, and so got to do what you got to do when you're homeowners, right? So anyway,
True.
there's so much going on in the world today. Let me see if we can catch up real quick. Thanks. And first and foremost, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I apologize. Usually doesn't do things like that, but when things happen, you just got to do it. And we won't be on long tonight. Trust me for that. With that being said, and saying all of that, oh, man, no 2G. Just trying to work this thing. Bill, what's going on with your connection? I know. Hello, everybody. Sorry. First and foremost, let me just catch up. Hello, fellas. How y'all doing? Y'all good?
How you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah. Just not rattled. Just trying to make things happen. So let me just bring people up to speed. Condolences to Officer Mora. He transitioned. The reason why it seemed like he transitioned a little later than uh, the other officer was because his family had him on life support. They wanted to see if a miracle would happen, and he was brain dead. But we just wanted to see if he was going to make it. He didn't do. So, of course, our prayers go out to his family and him. This Thursday is the wake, and Friday is the funeral. And I guess we'll find out about the other officer. With that being
I
said,
think for him, I think they got his scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday.
right? Okay, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I have to clear up the air. I was told to clear up the air. Let's understand that the this gentleman if I call him a gentleman, shame on me for saying that killed these officers, ambushed these officers. His mother was not a correction officer. That was false information. The correction officer's picture that was going around, the retired captain, doesn't know this family. They just have the same name in common, McNeil. She is not related to this individual. Somebody, the call prior to this call, this domestic violence call, was another MOS, a correction officer. It had nothing to do with this call. This is a lady that called on her son, and her son was, of course, we see who he was. Gina said, and he was moved because he donated his organs. Yes, Gina. Good evening. What's up, Kenny? Hello, everybody. Appreciate this. Real Talk Chronicles. I'm calling from location out in the street. We had to take care of some personal stuff. And I think Kev is away on personal stuff, and Chuck got something to do later. So we're all like really moving. But the bottom line is we wanted to get some content and some product. Also, Monday, the 7th, with Assemblyman Al Taylor. Everybody out there, listen. I will have Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg on the show Monday. So please, people, tune in and chime in. He will be here February 7th, and we will find out a lot of what's going on. How about that, right? So saying all that. How are you doing, Chuck?
Brother, like I said, man, I'm still trying to stay above water. I still run naked with the wolves when I can, and you know what I'm saying. And it's always a breath of fresh air, man, to run naked. So it's a good thing, especially in this cold weather. It's even better.
Just don't let your balls hit the ground, baby. Just keep running.
I mean, it's all good, man. So far, so good, baby. It's still tight. It's still close to the body. It's still close to the body.
Yeah. Tuck him and run, baby. Tuck him and run.
I'm saying, baby.
I have my flag here. I'm away. Too early for the flag, gentlemen.
Flag, right?
I'm gonna wear a mask.
Yo, Kevin, how are you doing? I know you're away. I don't know if you want to divulge what you're doing, but if not, just how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. I am away. I can only stay on for a little bit. I'm not sure how the 2G hotel is going to work, but for the moment, I'm on.
All right.
So we have some stuff we want to talk about. And first, I know, Kevin, I sent you some emails. There's another officer that got shot. One officer, I think, got dragged. I think, where was that at? God forbid, man. Monday, I ran down some stats. As of Monday, there were 15 officers that across the country that have been shot. 2 that we know, well, I think three killed. Officer was doing a stop. I sent it to you guys today. Like I said, my mind is off, so you're going to have to help me. I sent you something. The officer got dragged doing a car stop. A sheriff got killed in Texas. DC and some other officers got, I think, shot.
Mm-hmm.
We got to find a way. We talked about this Monday. We got to find a way to get the respect back for law enforcement. Even though we could talk about bad police work all the time, I have no problems owning that, but I've never been anti-police. None of us here. But all we try to do is get proper procedures and good work. That's what we want. That's all we want. That's what Real Talk is about when we discuss stuff. I have no problems calling, none of us do, calling out bad police. Kevin, as would you call it, bad police work, right? None of us. But the thing is, no one here will ever wish bad on any officer doing their job. We talked about the officer choking the fellow officer. Kevin, you kind of swayed on that. You felt like he dragged. He really didn't choke her. His hand was up in their throat. I guess he was massaging her chin. You know what I'm saying? But we also talked about voting. I know, Kevin, you had feelings on what I think was it Mitch McConnell not referring to African Americans as Americans. He said, "Oh yeah, black people get to vote like Americans. I think you thought that was kind of like baiting. People were looking for something.
I think he misspoke, and we're jumping down his throat for a line. You know, it's tough, right? You public speak. Occasionally, you're going to misspeak. Words don't come out the way you mean them. I don't think it was meant to be. You know, they're Americans and then they're black people in America. Like, I don't think that's what he.
Let me ask you a question. Even if that's true, what why do you take the high road? Why don't you just take it for what he said? He's been speaking. He's been public speaking maybe longer than we've been living. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so where's the history then? Right? That's what I'm taking it as. You know, it's where's the history of it? So that's why I always take. Right, I try to always take the high road with things and give the people the benefit of the doubt.
So let me ask you a question. That's a great way to take the high road on things. I guess, but when you have, I guess, a background of not doing anything for people of color, and then you say something like that. So for people of color, I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't speak for Chuck. For me, my terminology, my purpose was like, oh, here's just a Freudian slip. You just said the shit, you know, you didn't mean to. You know, it's almost like they say a lick of tongue. A tongue, you know, a person that has liquor on, you know.
Yeah. Well, but I got a different way of looking at it. And I've talked to you guys about me on this show, right? I make one slip. That clip can be taken to me and make me look like an awful human being. Right. And it is a nerve-wracking thing, but I still come on. It is why we can't get a lot of other people to come on, because nobody wants to take that chance. So we have to give people who are out there, public, the benefit of doubt unless there's something else. And I also believe we all do this, depending on what side of the political aisle the guy sits on. If he sits on our side, we give him the benefit of doubt. If he sits on the other side, we crucify him. And that's kind of our stamp with all these things. We're like, has Biden said, you know, say dumb things all the time? Sure. Have we ever seen other politicians slip up and say things dumb? Absolutely. So I like to give them the benefit of you're allowed to misspeak in public. It happens.
But quite honestly, Mitch McConnell's been saying a lot of dumb shit since he's been in office altogether. I mean, he said things very blatantly and very clearly in terms of what his views are on some things that are very controversial. So for him to make a statement such as that, as far as I was concerned, he was speaking honestly from how he looks at African Americans as being separate as Americans, because it would have never been, if we would have looked at the overall issue in terms of the whole voting rights and the way they are suppressing people, giving them the ability to vote, as we did it as an American issue, as a citizen's issue, as a people's issue, then I wouldn't have no problem with that. But he actually made a separate statement and differentiated that there are more African Americans who are so in essence, he's not putting us in the pool as Americans. He's separating, and he's saying that all these various, which I think is hideous in terms of what George.
Isn't that what the discussion was, though, Chuck? The discussion was about the separation of African Americans as a voting bloc, right? So that was the discussion. So he didn't separate out. The discussion was there. That's what the discussion was about.
But the statement he made was that, in essence, that the overall ability for blacks to, that blacks here, African Americans, are being provided more opportunities to vote based on these issues that they're trying to change and alter, which in actuality, it doesn't help any of the African Americans at all. And anything, it makes it harder and more complicated for anyone, for that matter, or any African American to be able to vote. And the way that for instance, I make it very clearly, if let's say the election had gone in the other direction and Trump had won, we wouldn't be having these discussions. I don't believe that they would be doing anything to change the voting rights or to suppress the way that we vote. I think it wouldn't have been any issue. But once Trump lost and they started this voter fraud and all this other nonsense regarding the way that the election was populated and that there was probably fraud associated with it. Now we have all this propaganda. We have all of this other innuendo. And now, oh, in order to ensure that this doesn't happen again, we're going to ensure that we do what's necessary to suppress and to prohibit, or to at least put as much restrictions as possible of giving people the ability to vote freely.
One side is arguing, right, that we're trying to restrict African Americans to vote. The other side is arguing that we're trying to allow people who aren't citizens the right to vote. And like I'm
Mhm.
hearing different arguments from both sides, and I think we all agree on a very simple thing: every one of us deserves a right to vote. Period. Right? Like that's it.
True.
It sounds very very simple, but when you listen to them discuss it, it's they're fighting two different wars on this. But
Mhm.
really, the answer is we just want to make sure we all can vote. That's all we
But
all
you,
care
you know,
about.
you know what I think, Kevin, too, and Chuck, is that a lot of times it's the reasons. Well, you're talking about taking water away from people standing on a line, but it's obvious that in communities of color, the lines are 2 to 3 hours longer than any in communities in the white districts. And you're talking about I can't even give you a bottle of water,
Well,
like
no,
really, like so.
the voting district itself can supply. What they wanted to stop was, and we know what's not allowed at voting districts, right? You're not allowed to engage the people online, right? Pollsters can't come up to you and say, hey Chuck, who are you going to vote for? We want you to vote for this guy. We believe in him. That's
Right.
what this is trying to eliminate. People were starting to use what people are long online. Well, I'm not only here giving out water. They wanted to avoid that it's somebody from the Republican Party or the Democratic Party using that as an opportunity to give people things so they can engage them. The polling place, the people working there are allowed to have supplies for people. The polling place itself. Now, let's also be
But
honest.
once,
If you're on for
but
2 hours,
once again, my
why
point, but see, once again, my point is this: that if in fact, let's say that was a technique, let's say that was a technique or a tactic that was used at polling
yeah,
sites. And obviously, I mean, I'm only 57 years of age. So we're talking about people voting, God, way before I was even born. And if that had been an actual tactic of people being able to use that last minute to try to persuade someone to alter their vote, then that should have been something they should have enacted about no one being able to give water to people directly online at a polling location while online prior. This did not become a big issue, and it
it
wasn't
was
something that was put
the
until,
rule was there, Chuck, about for years. That's why there's signs at
yeah,
every poll. You're not allowed to engage people online.
I
And I
get
say
that, but
this,
and giving someone a bottle of water is not engaging them. You got lines that are sometimes in some of these populated areas where it's a mama and papa store, and it's like 50 freaking thousand people on the line, and it's hot outside, right? Let's talk about Georgia, right? God knows what the conditions were for those people that were voting in Georgia, especially during the
on
hot
November
months,
7th.
whether they have a rebound. You know,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, let's say it's hot.
it's not that hot in
No, let's
November.
say, no, let's say, I'm not saying, but I'm talking about the South, right? The South is hot. You're talking about Louisiana, you're talking about South
Not
Carolina,
in
it's
November,
hot,
Chuck.
right? Right? No, I'm just saying overall, right? So if people are online for long periods of time, whether it's hot or not, and it's just a small location and it's taking forever to get in there. All right, someone walking up and trying to do something in a, how can I say it, a very hospitable or humane manner, giving someone a bottle of water shouldn't be a large issue. I can see if they're engaging them verbally, but walking by someone and just give them a bottle of water, as you said, they can supply at a polling
Look,
location. I mean, that's permissible.
who's going to police that? Right. That's the other part of it. So, right. Look, there should no an hour line acceptable to me. Right. I don't
Mhm.
want to stand on it, but if we're at 3 hour lines, somebody goofed. Right. Somebody completely screwed up. Our districts are wrong. The amount of voting booths are wrong. Something is wrong because nobody should be online for 3 hours. Right.
And,
That
and and let me just interject. I want to read some comments, but also too keep in mind that you I think you can't even bring like your a family member's like mail-in ballot to the polling site to drop off. Like really, like you're just stopping people from all.
a
So you got an
mail-in
elderly
ballot's supposed to
woman.
have been mailed in. That's a mail-in ballot.
But if you, no, I think to the polling sites too. I think I forgot what it was. If it was a mail-in, not a mail-in ballot, but something to the where you drop offs. I
Yeah.
think you can't have multiple drop offs or something like that. And if you have an elderly lady, your mother or somebody that can't get to the polling site, and I can't even bring in her drop off.
Well, listen, one thing has happened the last few years. We have made it easier for voting. We've allowed earlier voting. We have allowed more mail-in voting. So there's more ability to vote. Old people in
No,
general
matter of fact, they've
vote more.
closed some of the locations where people can drop off ballot boxes. They've closed them.
It's only Kevin. It was 100 or some, and it was 100 or some, and Georgia dropped it down to 30.
Yes, they had it as a COVID thing. They blew it
No,
out.
it wasn't COVID, Kevin. No,
Yes,
it
it
wasn't
was.
COVID.
That's why it was that many. It was COVID. Pre-COVID,
No,
they didn't
if
have
they're
that many.
they're probably using that as a justification for it.
Give,
But prior
give
to
me the
that,
numbers
there's no
before
reason.
COVID.
There's no reason to close a box that person can drop in a ballot when, all right, it's paper, right? I mean,
Yeah.
fine, we can transfer, germs. I get that, but to close that many boxes by that rate, that to me just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, and it's only to suppress people for not being able to have a vessel in order to vote. That you're going to now have to drag, let's say if it was 100 boxes and it's down to 30, so you got 70 locations that they've actually removed those boxes. So whoever's in those areas who can't get to a polling, you're physically going to have to make them get in a car, drive them someplace to ensure that they can actually vote. And that's an inconvenience which is being deliberately done to ensure that it would just say, oh, you know what? I don't feel like going through all the aggravation of having to go 6 counties over in order to vote. I'm just not going to vote.
Yeah. Let me just read
Because
some
it's too much
comments
of
real
an
quick,
inconvenience.
everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles, everybody. All of us are on location somewhere. Gina had a joke. She said, check as a polar bear. Exactly. You out there running and playing it. Let me just read some comments. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Sharon and Yank. Thank you, Taylor. That incident was in Philly where the officer was dragged. Let's see. Taylor said now we're talking about McConnell. Taylor said he's a rich career politician whose family profited off slavery. That's where his wealth came from. He didn't misspeak. He openly stated his racist beliefs. Stefania, whatever you said, Kevin, she said that was very true. I don't know what that was. Stefania also said, but with Mitch, it's human. So I guess she was referring to the fact that some people can misspeak, but that's now she's kind of saying, well, with Mitch, you don't know about misspeaking. That's slow talking son of a gun. I don't think he misspeaking. Them words are slow for purpose and shit. You know what I'm saying? Taylor said he does not consider African Americans as Americans. She says, Charles, you are absolutely 100% right, what you were referring to at the time. Baker JB said, these restrictions are targeted at communities of color, just like the redistricting by the Repubs, which is being overturned in the courts and ordered change. Taylor also said this whole lack of interest of the GOP to pass the Voting Rights Act. They're a bunch of entitled white men that are upset because they're losing power. I kind of agree with that. I agree with a lot of what everybody's saying, though, to be honest with you. Baker said they should ensure that there's plenty of places to vote without lines, Kevin, and that eliminates the issue. They created the problem by they're closing voting sites. Now they want to deny people basic things to alleviate the problem they caused. Lonnie Cox, thank you, brother. It was absentee ballot. Baker also said it's considered a concentrated effort because the Republicans know the least people who vote, the better the odds for their closure. Their chosen representatives can win. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just having all around bad day. They don't represent the majority of the American electorate. Taylor said they shouldn't be illegal standing against giving a person a bottle of water. Why are these lines hours long in the minority communities? A lot of the polling places that were closed were in minority communities. And I think, Kevin, that's what I think Chuck and I are really trying to allude to. It's not a worldwide epidemic. It's not a problem. I mean, if you want to say that they're going to justify it because of the pandemic, COVID, but you close them in African American communities. So you went from 100 and some, and that's what people were saying. Not you, Kevin, but some people were saying, "Oh, well, there's still absentee ballot sites and stuff like that you could drop off." Wait a minute, there's only 30 now, and now you're telling me I can't bring it for my mother? You know what I'm saying? Or I can't. How about this? I can't bring it for you, Chuck, or I can't bring it for you, Kevin.
You bringing it for your mother is not the issue. It's somebody standing there with cases of water, handing them out. That's what they don't want. They don't want to give politicians that ability. That's the goal, right? But I'm with you. Look, nobody should be online for 5 hours to vote, right? Like it should be. I've done an hour. I've done it over an hour. We shouldn't have to. Right.
Well, I think we all agree nobody should do that. That's very important. Not to be on the line.
What do you guys think about in New York City the change for non-citizens allowed to vote?
Say it again.
New York City enacted a new law that non-citizens can vote.
First and foremost, when we talk about non-citizens, you know how many people work in New York that have, what is that? The green card? They're aliens, but they've been here for like work visas. They've been here for like what, 10 to 15 years.
It could be 10 years. It could be 10 weeks. Agreed.
Well, if trust me, if it's 10 weeks, if it's 10 years, I definitely think you should vote. Now, if you want to put a restriction on somebody that just got here in 10 weeks, okay, I'll work with that. No, okay, in 10 weeks you can't vote because you just got here. But
what
10
should the
years,
number be?
5 years, if you've been here long enough to earn a living, so you can work here and get money, but you can't vote here, I don't agree with that.
If you worked, well, I think that's normal though. If you worked, you took a year off and you were working overseas in Europe, you're not voting in that country. They're not going to let you vote. That's not going to happen.
Because it wouldn't even be my fight. So I don't even know if a person that's not even really here for a year, hypothetically, he's visiting and he stays. He may not even care about the presidency. Now, he may be a conscious individual and be able to have an articulate conversation, but he may not want to vote. So we're talking now, but are we talking about people that are legal aliens that have green cards and they're here and they work and, they've been here 4 or 5 years or longer and you telling them they can't vote? Come on. So now you're just stifling the vote. And Kevin.
How is that stifling?
Huh?
I said, how is that stifling the vote if you're not a citizen?
I just said it. If you've been here 10 years or 5 years and you're working, you're making money. You're practically living here. You're living here. I mean, think about all our former co-workers that or people that we know of Latin descent that had to get a green card, but they were here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the time frame then? But I'm with you. I think 5 years of working here.
Well, why? Wait a minute. How about if you want a time frame?
Yeah.
How about if you're going to be working here more than 3 years? Because I want to give you.
I want to wait for you to work here 3 years.
Huh?
I want you to at least work here the 3 years. Not that you're gonna.
Well, the bottom line is if you're signing up to work here, if you pass your card says, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not an alien. I don't know what it was like for somebody to get a work visa to work in the United States.
The law they signed it in New York City is 30 days.
30 days?
So if you're here for 30 days, meaning just a resident in New York City with or without work for 30 days?
That's it.
With or without work, without contributing at all to the city, that gives you the right to vote. That's what they're saying?
You can have a green card in here for 30 days.
Yeah, but
okay.
Now, I of course, I don't think somebody should come in here in 30 days. But see, this is my problem. Show me people that have been here 30 days and wanted to vote in lieu of people that have been here 5 years and wanted to vote and they told them no. So
I think 5 years. I think you should be in the U.S. for 5 years to vote. I don't think that's a lot. I mean, we can argue on a number 3 years. I'm not opposed. 30 days. I think it's.
I think 30 days is that's a little too soon, man. 30 days, wow. That's like, signing a lease and you can't throw me out of the apartment. I've been there for 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
30 days is little. I mean, I would say, honestly speaking, if a person is here, despite the fact they're an immigrant, and they've been there for at least 3 years or more, and they've been working, they've been supporting their families, and putting their kids through school here, they've been contributing to the economy and to
Paying your
the
taxes,
city
you
as a
got
whole.
yeah.
Paying tax, they should have the right to vote. Absolutely. I mean,
So
but
what
someone
about
just
that,
coming.
Kevin? If you fill out an income tax form here, can you vote?
After a certain amount of years, I think you should have to be here.
So what year makes you comfortable?
I think 5. I think being in the U.S.
So,
for 5
so
years.
for 5, you're going to miss an election. You're going to miss multiple elections. You're going to miss the city.
Yeah,
you're going to
course.
miss maybe some state, and you're going to miss. You're definitely going to miss the presidency.
You miss, yeah.
So
I think 5 is
But you're still talking about a
rather-
non-citizen, Bill. You're still talking about somebody who's not a U.S. citizen. And I don't know if there's a country in the world that would let non-citizens vote.
Well, the U.S.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 years of being here as a non-citizen shows there's a commitment to being here.
But wait a minute, 3 years.
I'm sorry. I don't really. I'm sorry. You know what? I really want to get into this black and white thing, but I swear to God, they brought my black ass out here on a ship, on a goddamn bottom of a ship. My ancestors on a ship, and God knows how long it took us, and we were here how long, and they didn't give us the ability to vote. How long? And now you talking about 30 days to freaking 3 years? I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sitting here just barking. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut, but I'm like, come on, dude. You're killing me. You're killing me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
historically, this country sat back and said that black people were not even we weren't really looked at as a whole human being. How long did it take for the average black man who has been here as a slave, who was a sharecropper, whatever, in this country before they actually gave him the right to vote? So, honestly speaking, if they're going to do I would say 3 years. But you know what? Now I'm looking at it historically, what this country has done to other cultures in the black race. The hell with them. Yeah, 30 days. I don't give a damn now. I don't care. Let them all vote. I'm trying man.
Yo, Kev, because you know what I have a problem is? I have a problem with you pick 5 years to say that somebody has the right to vote, but like 5 years they've missed multiple elections. So you're saying you can miss all these elections that you don't have a say in, but you're going to be here. So like why 5 years? Like,
yeah, it could be 10.
What
just be your citizen, Bill.
Huh?
Because you can't. It's really. I mean, the real argument is, and most people make, is that you should be a citizen to vote. That's what it's always been. That's a change.
But that's what people who don't want people to vote say. See, that's what I'm trying to say. You're telling people that you're not a citizen, so you can't do this. Who makes these laws? It's the motherfuckers that broke the laws in the beginning. Like what Chuck said. You know, it's almost like showing like, wait a minute, I'm playing. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna play a game with you. I'm gonna play checkers and chess, but I'm gonna tell you can't double jump until I jump to win. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, you didn't tell me I could double jump. Oh, well, I thought you was paying attention. Well, yeah, you could double jump, but the game is over now. So the next game, I didn't tell you could jump backwards. Oh, you didn't tell me I could jump backwards. You just told me I could jump forward. Yeah, but wait a minute, you didn't tell me. Oh, I'm sorry, the game is over. I win. When is the game going to be fair? The game has never been fair. And then I'm not saying, well, yeah, I probably am saying this. You're falling into that, well, 5 years. So wait a minute. I've missed the mayor election. I've missed my city council election. I've missed my assemblyman's election.
Yep.
Then I've missed the president election. But I'm sitting here and working. I'm paying taxes. And then somebody's just going to say, well, here, 5 years. 5 years is proven to me that you are worthy to vote because you're an alien. Wait a minute, isn't this the great mosaic, the melting pot, the world? We got
any citizen can vote.
All right, I got you. So you want it has to be a citizen. Okay. So, so Kevin, let me ask you a question, and then I'll yield back to Chuck, or we can go to another topic because it's all about the citizenship for you. Um, a person that has dual residency, should they give up certain privileges in a city because they can afford to live in other places?
No, or what do you? I don't know what you're getting at with that.
Well, I'm saying if a person could live in another country or live in another city, maybe he's here long enough. Because the bottom line is, I can live in multiple places. I can have dual residency and still have valid licenses in both. Not a driver's license, but a non-driver's license, a form of identification to state my residency there. I'm telling you, if you didn't know that, that's factual. So now,
but you can't vote in both.
No, I don't want to vote in both. But maybe I want to vote in the place that I still call home, or maybe I want to vote in the place that I call my new home. You see what I'm trying to say? So the bottom line is, if I'm in New York now and I'm considering myself a New Yorker, I want to vote in New York. I want to change. Just because somebody says Kevin Branzetti's in office, and he says 5 years, and you're like 5 years, but you're taking taxes. I'm paying this government money.
Okay.
So how about this?
The rule was you had to be a citizen.
Well, how about this? Once you start taking taxes out my check, I can pay. I can vote.
I mean, that's
if you don't want me to vote in 5 years, don't take taxes out my check.
That's fine for your opinion, and I got mine, right? Like, that's it.
No, I didn't hear you. That's what I'm saying. What you say?
You're new to a country. You're walking into a new country. I'm not talking about you leaving New York and going to Philly or going to Boston. You're entering a new country, and like I said, there ain't a country on the planet we can walk into and vote. Zero. Citizens vote. That's every country, and that's been the standard. So
it appears that only New York is doing this, right? So they got the other 40 some odd states.
There's other places, municipalities have done it. It's only New York City. So it's only in New York City votes. So it's not even in a New York State election.
Okay.
So you can't vote for governor, but can vote for mayor. All right.
Well, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host Kevin Branzetti and Chuck Richards. And you just heard it here. If you're an alien, you can't vote. If you're listening to Kevin in 5 years, so basically you really so Kevin, you don't want him to say shit. Just sit here and look, and excuse my French, everybody. Just sit there and look stupid, and just you have nothing to say in this country or this world, but you're not really a citizen or anything. You're just a person. Just because you're not a citizen, you have no right. Kevin, won't you get you a little hat, a little sailor hat, and a little white wig hanging down, and shoot a musket? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what that has to do with
Kevin Columbus. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man!
Like how do we be so liberal on certain things? You talk about change, but you can't even change people's rights to vote. So right now, you got a dictator in office. I'm just saying anything, and the person want to get him out of office. He just can't. So you're saying, listen, let the powers that be that put that bastard in office keep him in office, because the hardworking people out here in the country today can't put him in office just because he's not a citizen. So there's no such thing as having a voice. You can't say anything.
Okay, then become a citizen. Like, that's the goal. Yes.
It doesn't have to be the goal. The goal is for who, Kevin? Listen, who's the goal to be a citizen? It doesn't. I mean, the fact of it is, to be a citizen, it's a privilege. I mean, we got Americans that don't even want to vote.
Agreed. Too many.
Exactly. So
the majority.
How about this? If you want to change laws like that or make laws up, how about that? If you haven't voted in 2 elections, you lose your right as a citizen. You want to do that?
No.
No. Okay, let's go to another topic. I've had it. I've had it. My day's been too hard to put up with that much. I love you to death, but I can't take you. I love you to death. I can't.
Oh God, man.
Kevin, I'll let you have your closing argument, and Chuck, you have your closing argument on this topic, and we'll go to another topic. Go ahead, Kev.
Sorry, I was reading comments.
Oh, Taylor said there are a lot of transit workers that are not citizens. They provide a service to the city of New York. If they are paying taxes, why shouldn't they be able to vote? That's my point. I totally agree. Jason said no, but they can only vote in one state. I have no problems with that. That's the state you pay taxes in. How about that? What's up, Lou? Checking in. The Browning of America, WASP males are no longer in white Anglo-Saxon people with males. Somebody can read that or Chuck read that. I'm driving. Y'all gonna have me crash and shit.
Oh man.
James said, no longer in the majority and no longer in the power. And I think that's in lies the problem. I mean, it's that hold on, let me just say this. My closing. I mean, Chuck, do you have a closing argument before I say what I want to say on this?
No, bro. My overall point is I'm looking at historically what this country has done to it's my ancestors and what it's continuously done even through our various wars with the Japanese or other cultures. I mean, look at the American Indian, right, which is the start of all the genocide. So as far as I'm concerned, this overall country has been built on the blood of other cultures, other heritages, and now New York City is saying that, hey, look, we want to change the dynamic by giving people the opportunity to vote. And they're saying if you got a green card, and you're here 30 days, so be it. I mean, I wish it was that accelerated for the black man when we came in, but it didn't work out that way. So that being said, so be it. It is what it is at that point. And if that means that they're going to contribute to the city and it gives them a voice, because once again, right, New York City is supposed to be the melting pot, right? And we're supposed to be close to dealing with and handling and loving and caring, and we're supposed to be receptive to all those who come through its pearly gates. So if that's the case, if we're going to really believe very heavily in that mantra, then those who are here who have a green card, and if in fact they are still working towards citizenship, then I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be permitted to vote.
Yeah. Kev, you
I will say one thing. One thing I will say though, Bill, you made a good point. So what if a person is a citizen, and for 2 years they decided they didn't vote? Does that mean that you should take away their power to vote because they're a citizen, which is supposed to be a privilege as a citizen in order to be able to, like, you go through citizenship in order to have the rights indelegated to you by being an American citizen. Here it is. You have the right to vote, but you opt not to. And you decide, hey, I don't vote. I mean, I have the right. I'm registered, but I don't vote in any election. That's a good point. If you're a citizen, should someone's rights in terms of being able to vote, should they be rescinded? Should you take it away from them? Well, here is you got people who have been here for 30 days, or maybe more than that, who've been slaving or working like these MTA workers, and they may not be citizens, but they're not permitted. I don't know if they're permitted to vote or not, but I would assume they don't, or they can't.
Yeah, I mean, what's up, everybody? Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Roscoe. What's up, Norm? Cabrera. Hello. Yeah, I'm driving, brother. Hey, Ruthie. What's up, Joy? How's everybody doing? Listen, I just think it's crazy that
if you would have got pulled over,
brother, I told him I'm doing Real Talk Chronicles and leave me the fuck alone. And
you put them on the air.
Yeah, I told him I'm on the air and I'm talking about birth rights and shit. You know what I'm saying? And Taylor has said something. She said there are a lot of transit workers that are not citizens. They provide a service to the city of New York. If they are paying taxes, why shouldn't they be able to vote? I think I said that. And and like Jason said, no, they can only vote in one state. So I just feel that we certain things. Let's not try to be too stringent and hold a noose around the neck for reasons, just to say you're a citizen. I mean, it's so funny that the people that are talking about being a citizen are not really citizens. They stole this country. You know what I'm saying? So and they made the laws. And this is why we have so many problems in this world today, because we're still trying to hold on to these old laws that only benefit the people that made them. And there lies the problem. We talk about change. Certain things don't have to be changed too much, especially if we're talking about law enforcement and reform and stuff like that magnitude. But the thing is, we especially, thank you. We're talking about things in regards to.
What you got there, man? What you picking up? Rings, bro? You got rings?
I got rings again.
What you picking up, man? Extra crispy wings? What you got there?
Just talking about there's so much happening. We just need to be a better people and stop holding certain change. I didn't say, now you know what's so funny? That's almost like saying a person with mental illness. That's like a person saying with mental illness, should they vote just because they're a citizen? That's a whole nother topic.
I don't think that compares, but fine.
Huh?
I don't think that's a real comparison.
No, I don't think that's even an issue, man. I don't think that's even a consideration.
No, but I'm just saying, like, what's next? That's the point I'm trying to make. It. What's next? You're gonna say a person, that has mental issues, he can't vote. He's a citizen. I mean, I just think after a while, people are just gonna start changing. Once you start, people of power, it's almost like spoiled losers. Like, oh, okay, well, listen, I'm gonna find every way to cheat, but I'm gonna change the laws. Like, what Bloomberg do? He wanted to be a mayor for the third time, so he wrote legislation and changed the law so he could so he could have 3 terms. And then after he won and stole the votes, you know what I'm saying, against Bill Thompson, he changed the laws back to 2 terms. Now, if that wasn't some old massive shit, I don't know what was, right? Nobody argued and complained about it if he was a Bloomberg supporter. True story. I'm not
didn't
lying.
like the maneuver, Bill, but I liked Bloomberg. I thought he was a good mayor.
That's why he shut off. When you heard that, like, what? Exit, stage left.
That was nice. I mean,
I didn't like the maneuver Bloomberg pulled. Right? You can't be. It's good for do as I say, not as I do.
That was Bloomberg. That was Giuliani.
Yeah.
People are giving Eric Adams the beef because he's doing that now.
People are going to always give somebody in power the beef. There's always going to be somebody who is going to disparage, talk badly. That's just it. If you're in politics, you better be thick-skinned, because somebody's going to look for that every second they have, every gotcha moment they have. Your adversaries are drooling over things, waiting for that moment. This is the game, unfortunately.
Well, the next topic I want to talk about is the lady. What's her name? I'm trying to pull her name up. Please forgive me, everybody. Like I said, Lauren Smith Fields.
Yeah.
She's a young black woman, 24 years old. She was on a dating site, met a gentleman, I think 50-some years old, Caucasian, and he He met her on a dating site in Connecticut. She ends up dying. Emmy says it was an overdose. I don't know if there was history of drugs. I didn't know if anybody heard that yet. There was a condom found later, not by the police. I mean, I think by the family or some people or the family. Listen, y'all got to do your homework on this story. Like I said, my mind is everywhere with this. But the man in the house on the first date, he's not a person of interest. Kev, what's your take on this?
So she did die of an overdose, right? And we talked a little bit about this. Look, as NYPD, if this was a decade ago, an overdose was an overdose and it was a closed case. Today, an overdose is treated like a homicide with fentanyl. Who gave that person fentanyl? Who put fentanyl in their drugs? And if they're found, they're getting arrested for it. And there's a lot of municipalities who've gone to this way of doing it. They met on Bumble, which is if you haven't used that site, it's a dating site where the woman has to engage you first.
I'm married. I don't know dating sites anymore. I'm married. Sorry.
Yeah. So, she has to engage
last thing I was maybe was Match.com and Black People Meet. I don't know what anything else y'all talk about.
They went to her place. She's 20 in her low 20s. He's in his 50s.
I think he's 24.
That's a strange, age. I'm 50 years old. I don't try to date 20-year-old women. It's
maybe she likes older guys. I mean, I'm in there with that one right now. Yep.
The police there did not do a good job, right? Because you hear this one thing where they didn't notify the family, which is, you have a dead woman. The guy stayed. He called 911. He was there.
Stefania, I heard the guy was in his 50s. You're saying he's in his 30s? Okay, I don't know, but I heard he was in his 50s.
Yeah, they said 50s.
Yeah, I heard 50s, Stefania. Go ahead.
Yeah. He should have been interviewed. You don't know. You're on the scene of a young lady who's dead. The Emmy at the time, or maybe said it looks like an overdose, and then maybe things that showed overdose. But you don't know for sure. You got to interview the guy. I mean, you just have to. He's there. Why would you not take the time to have him come back to the station and get an interview with him? Why would you not? Kevin,
there are a lot of people, and I'll let you continue, but there's a lot of people who feel like the only reason why he didn't get an interview because he was of Caucasian descent. And I didn't mention that to anybody earlier. So that kind of puts people at odds. Well, you have a young Black woman, we're up in Connecticut that it's known not to be so fair. I'll say that. And, you finding condoms and drugs and he's not even questioned. And then they didn't even, and then Bridgeport police in Connecticut didn't even tell the family that she was dead.
Yeah. No, I'm not defending the police work on this.
Oh no, I didn't say you was. Yeah.
Does it mean it's racist? Maybe. Does it mean that they're just incompetent? Maybe. We've all seen cops who didn't do their job.
Kevin, hold on. I've seen incompetent law enforcement, but if this is what you call incompetence, this is damn near you should be terminated. There's no way in hell I go to a scene. We understand when we was on patrol. Excuse me, gentlemen. When we was on patrol, if we go to a scene and there's a death of natural causes, the detective bureau has to come in first and deem it as natural causes. We can't. We just have to sit on the body as patrol people. So now, this is a female dead with a man in her house, white, Black, or whomever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh.
And he's in her house, and you met her on Bumble, or Bumblebee. I don't know what the site is and shit. And, and you spend the night, and you wake up, she dead. Okay, that's nice of you to call 911, but you got a condom.
Well, I mean, the condom doesn't matter. We're not accused. He's not
But
being accused.
but he said he didn't have sex with her.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like you
I didn't know
you
that
guys,
part.
you guys. I sent you the same thing I listened to. The lawyer said he didn't have any intercourse with her, things of that magnitude. And then they was like, okay, thanks for calling. See you later. Have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Now, totally incompetent of the police department.
Absolutely.
But
It's a dead woman.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said, yeah, it's a dead woman. Like,
Yeah.
if that was I don't care if my daughter was an addict. Like, I don't care about her background. Zero. I care about it.
I'm about to give you your phone.
Right? Somebody gave that.
Okay.
Somebody fed her fentanyl.
I'll give you your phone.
Whether she volunteered for it to take it or not, you need to investigate. She's, and at the time they didn't know how she died. It should.
My question is, after realizing that, let's say, for argument's sake, she's deceased. Why didn't he notify the family?
Fellas, continue this conversation while I switch to laptop.
While he eats his
You know
wings.
what I'm saying? Like, what? Yeah. My question is, why didn't they inform the family? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, the person is DOA. Why didn't they inform the family? They didn't even know their own child was deceased for how many days prior to them finally being notified. That's what I don't understand. I mean, even if in fact, let's say this person, you already know, if we look at it from a racist perspective, I get that. But why not notify the family?
Yeah.
That's 101. That's the first thing. So I don't understand.
If we can't notify the family, we have to treat them as a missing. And I'm missing and unidentified. That's our procedure, right? We must notify the family. It's not an option.
Right. I mean, but my question is, well, I'm not familiar with Bridgeport, so I don't know exactly what their procedure is. So I couldn't. I mean, but
it's still common sense.
The way that the family found out, was it that the family made an inquiry because they hadn't heard from their daughter, or they now made a notification
finally? The landlord told the family 2 days later because there was like a note on the door.
So the police didn't physically and actually go to the family. They left a note.
Yeah, I have to apologize, but I have to cut out.
Yo, so do I, man. I'm waiting for Bill to come back because I told him I need to be on the road. I gotta go run.
We both disappeared.
Man. So we gotta wait for him to get on the line because we don't want the viewers and the fans for him to be upset and come back and there's nobody here.
Chuck, I'll just leave my computer on.
All right, man. Leave it on, man. Put your green screen on.
Yeah. The curtains behind me.
No, listen. If we can close out, we'll pick this up next Wednesday. I know everybody got to get out of here, right?
Yeah, man.
I have to run.
All right.
I apologize, man.
Go ahead, run, Christopher Columbus. I'll see you later. No. Yo, Chuck, I'll see you later. Everybody, thank you.
All right, brother.
Thing. We will discuss all these topics next Wednesday. I promise you we'll be back. February 7th, we have the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg in the building. Tune in for that. Real Talk Chronicles. I'll see you later, everybody. Peace.